So hi everyone and welcome to EcoPeace Open Cafe. So today we are having um, a great dialogue with AG Saño and welcome AG Saño to EcoPeace Teen Cafe and welcome everyone. And so I would like to introduce EcoPeace Teen Cafe and our movement to everyone. So EcoPeace we started EcoPeace Teen Cafe in 2021. It's an online transformative education program for teenagers. And we run various training programs, especially focusing on peace building and environment education. Um, so, yeah. So we are mostly working with teenagers and like trying to help them to lead a sustainable and peaceful lifestyle. So we started with teenagers and now we are opening this for all age groups, not just focusing on teenagers, but we feel like there is a necessity of communicating these important messages with all age groups. That's why we call it as like EcoPeace Open Cafe. Anyone from anywhere can join us and be part of this change making process. So we will have a like very open dialogue and like it's like a like open dialogue, like please feel free, feel comfortable, and this space is for you to have dialogues and share your thoughts and share your concerns. So please use, and if you feel comfortable, please turn on your camera. We are just like a small family, so please feel free. And yeah, that's about EcoPeace Teen Cafe. And today we are having a guest. His name is A.G. Saño. He's a renowned and multi-awarded Filipino artist. He has painted more than 1,200 murals in 17 countries, depicting peace and environment. He's been involved in marine research since 2000 and a founding member of Baliana, a non-profit group focused on marine mammal research and conservation in the Philippines. And AG founded Dolphins Love Freedom, a network supported by advocates from more than 63 countries. And he founded Art Attack, an art team involved in art, education, and peace campaign. AG is an active participant in Japan's Peace March, and he chaired the closing plenary of the World Conference Against Nuclear Weapons in Hiroshima in 2017. So welcome, AG. So we will open this floor for AG's presentation. So we will have AG's presentation now, and after that we can have short discussions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to share that. And also please use the chat to introduce yourself and where you are joining us from. So AG, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gresh. And welcome everyone. And good evening, good morning, probably good afternoon to some of you. For me here I'm in Rotterdam right now in the Netherlands. It's 4:30, and I was hoping the sun should be shining now, but it's crazy. It's a crazy weather here. Sometimes we experience 4 seasons within one afternoon. Yes, so anyway, I'm glad to be here and thank you for having me. I'm glad to see people from all over the world, especially my friends over there from at Malaysia right now.
In Bali. Woo!
Oh, in Bali,
Eddie!
okay. Our activists from Bali right now. Yeah, good to see you guys. I'm glad that you're all safe. I heard that there was a really bad case of dispersal the other day. Anyway, so I'm gonna share with you my journey regarding how I became a peace advocate and the road towards this mission of doing peace education in the Philippines and other parts of the world is through art, and that's how I got into this. And because I'm gonna share with you a lot of things about art, I wanna share my slides. I hope you see them. Wait, let me see. All right. Okay, so I hope you can see the slides. I'm gonna share my journey, and every time I tell people about my journey about artists, I start with this drawing. This is not my drawing, but it's almost exactly the same as the first ever drawing that I ever made in my life. Well, consciously drew in my life, because I mean, toddlers can do doodles and stuff, but to consciously paint something, this is the first image that I ever drew, and it was because I got it from a science textbook, and I asked my seatmate in school to teach me. I was in fourth grade that time. I was 10 years old. I never knew that in the future I'd become a shark conservationist or be involved in shark conservation. And my advocacy actually started with my or began with my father's old camera. It's a manual camera, manual DSLR that I used to shoot a lot of sharks finning in the extreme north and south of the Philippines. And my mission that time when I was younger, I was a new photographer, was to expose a lot of stuff about sharks finning, because I heard that the population of sharks all over the world was on a sharp decline, and actually it still is, sadly. So, but during those times, I used my camera to take pictures of shark finning in different communities, and I would supply those photographs to different researchers, media people, like journalists. So a lot of my photos came out on the newspapers, and even in television documentaries, and even the academe. And nowadays, of course, we have the social media. And also with my father's camera, I went around the world to take pictures of wildlife, and I was able to see how beautiful nature was from different perspectives, different cultures, caring for different ecosystems from all over the world. And these are just some of my photos. Sometimes, normally my eyes would see these creatures as beasts, but if I would let my heart speak, I feel that they're more than beasts, more than creatures, but I feel like they're part of a big family of living beings. And I started to fall in love more with Mother Nature. And then I became part of a research of a humpback whale research and marine mammal research in the Philippines through a big organization called WWF. And we were able to spend a lot of time at sea. We spent about 3 months every summer when the whales come from the northern hemisphere. They come down to the tropical waters of the Philippines to mate, to breed, to give birth, and to nurse their young. And about that time, at the same time, we meet them around February, March, and April, sometimes even early May, so that we can observe them and document their behaviors, document their populations, do population counts. But most importantly, we take pictures of the tails, or what we call flukes. So the underside of the tails, like this one, they have different patterns that are distinct to each individual, pretty much like a fingerprint of a person, of a human being, where no two flukes or tails are alike. And that way we can determine which individual it is. And in some cases, we were able to match the tails to the photographs of other researchers from, let's say, Japan, and sometimes even further up to the Bering Sea. And that's how we catalog them. So in times when I'm not at sea with the whales, I spend a lot of time doing what I call storm chasing back in the Philippines. So we have 21 weather disturbances on the average every single year. So growing up in the Philippines, storms and typhoons are not new to us. We're so familiar with them. And using my father's camera, again, I got interested in taking pictures of lightning. And that's why I go to places where there are storms, and I would check weather reports. If storms are coming, then chances are I would be there pre-positioned and waiting for the storm. Okay, in summer of 2010, I saw this movie, Cove. I was with my team in the northern part of the Philippines doing back whale research when my girlfriend, she's now here also, May, sent me a DVD. Back then it was still DVDs. He sent me a DVD of the Cove. It was a documentary that came out in 2009, and it won the Oscars and a lot of other documentary feature awards. And it's about the slaughter of dolphins in a particular town in Japan, as well as other countries. They showed also dolphin trafficking and other business-related facilities in the world, trafficking dolphins from different parts of the globe, and most specifically in Japan. So after watching the gruesome film and the details, as an artist, my instinct was to paint a wall, and I was there in the islands in the northern part of the Philippines, and um our team of researchers, helped me paint this mural. And after that summer, we committed to paint more dolphins as they catch dolphins in Japan and other parts of the world. And it turns out that thousands of dolphins are caught, and that made us paint thousands and thousands of dolphins all over the Philippines and also other parts of the world. So this was the commitment that I posted on Facebook that time, that we will paint one dolphin for every dolphin that they capture. But after posting this, I suddenly realized that that's a hard task. Like painting one dolphin is hard enough. So I thought I need to delete this. But it was too late because that time, that was 2010, if you post anything on Facebook, you cannot edit it. Maybe now you can, but back then you can't. So I couldn't uh, delete it anymore. And many people actually posted comments of support, and a lot of other people also offered their walls. So quickly, I'd like to show you some of the murals, and that you can see the journey, the visual journey that we have for the past 14 years now. So we painted in universities, in schools, in streets, different events, even private homes, public walls. And then if you notice, it's not just dolphins that are painted here. We paint about anything about the beautiful creatures of Mother Nature, especially the oceans. And we conduct a lot of art attacks, as we call them, where people can join. And that's the essence of the mural sessions that we've been having, that we allow people to paint with us. If in cases where they don't know how to climb walls, then we even teach them. This is a depiction of a Philippine eagle, the critically endangered flagship species of the Philippines. And it's a sad thing that their population had been depleted like critically now, but it doesn't stop us from painting narratives about them. People also paint about fisher folk communities and their struggles and their plight. We paint with a lot of artists from the communities. We paint about renewable energy and clean solutions. We even paint about education, like this one. We paint about indigenous people, the most marginalized groups of the world, not just in the Philippines. And we work with a lot of kids as well. We paint about changing climate, renewable energy. We paint with youth, and we paint about children's rights. This particular image was done in Dusseldorf in Germany about, I think, 7 years ago, when I painted with Syrian kids, like children of refugees who were displaced from Syria. And then, like I said, I normally do what we call storm chasing. So during aftermaths, I would go around destroyed cities, tagging fallen objects with climate justice. Back then, climate justice was not a familiar term for people. Now it's known even in households, especially in the Philippines. But we still have a long way to go in telling the world that we need to do something about climate justice. People would normally be confused when I tag climate justice, like let's say 15 years ago, 16 years ago. And when people ask me, and then that's the opportunity to talk to them about it. So this is a very beautiful picture that I saved, and I always show people that even a little baby can help. But when people ask me what is the most memorable or my favorite mural, I wouldn't say there's a particular one, but I will always say that this is one of them. It's a mural that we painted in Taganak Island in Tawi-Tawi. Tawi-Tawi is the farthest province from Manila. It's the southernmost part of the Philippines. And this particular island is actually closer to Malaysia than the Philippines. So I went there in 2010, so 14 years ago now, and I gave a workshop to kids, like little kids, as you see them, as you see in the pictures. I think they were third and fourth graders, and most of them didn't speak Tagalog. They didn't speak the language that I know. Not even a bit of English. Most of them speak either the local language or Bahasa because they're closer to Malaysia. And it didn't stop them from learning and from showing interest and having enthusiasm in learning how to draw, learning how to create art. So after teaching them the basics of drawing, we painted this wall together. And as we were doing that, some of our escorts, because um, if you're from outside of that region, and the people from Teach Peace Build Peace would know this, that we need what we call security escorts. If we're from even media, private individuals, if we go there on missions, we need to coordinate with the government, and they provide us with the security escorts. And most of the time, we're brought there by the Philippine Marine. So the soldiers were there, and it was a peaceful place. Turtle Island is a peaceful place, and they were doing nothing much on the side. Then when I asked them to join us paint, the leader of the squad actually said, "Sir, we were just waiting for you to invite us. We've been watching the kids paint, and we really wanted to paint with you." So I invited them over, and it was a really beautiful sight to see the kids and the soldiers paint together. And what's more profound is that I learned by going to the southern regions for many times. I learned that um, people there, especially the kids, they're afraid of Christians, and their fear of Christians evolved because during the 70s and 80s there were a lot of terrorized communities by the military, especially during martial law, and people there thought that well, the best representation of Christians from Manila and from the northern part of the Philippines are the Christian soldiers, because they don't see much private citizens coming from the northern part. So for them to see soldiers is to see Christians, and they were afraid of them. So to see the kids painting with alongside, like side by side with these soldiers, I thought that it was art that got them together in that particular moment, and it was so beautiful that I thought that I think it's a good practice or a good thing to propagate art in communities like those. So even if I'm not there, um, even if they're not soldiers are not there, they would still find a way, to visualize their ideals, and to have a certain common goal. So like this particular wall is all about dolphins and sea creatures. It's about showing the beauty of the environment, and it went beyond religion. It went beyond cultures. Imagine I didn't even know the language that they spoke, but we were able to manage, and we were able to create this beautiful masterpiece together. Yeah, so and that's how our peace murals started. So after doing the Tawi-Tawi trip, I continued teaching kids in rural areas in the what we call conflict zones. So Sulu particularly is more known for its past conflicts and wars rather than its beauty, its amazing environment and beautiful people, and even trade, their trade that probably had been happening even before the Philippines was even established as a country. And Sulu was open, the ports of Jolo was open to the world for many, many centuries, even before the Philippines became a republic. But now, because of the recent and past conflicts, even now, I think people still think of Sulu as a dangerous place. So when I got there, this was in 2011, I think. I saw a boat that was abandoned, and it turned out that boat was used by terrorists, like extremist terrorists, to kidnap people from different parts of the Philippines and even in Malaysia, in Sipadan. And this particular boat, I asked them, why is it just lying abandoned there? They said, oh, no one can touch that because that's an element of terror. I said, maybe we can color it with something beautiful like dolphins and waves, like colorful waves. So it turned out that one of the personnel in the camp used to join a lot of like poster making competitions when he was still in the elementary. By the time I met him, he was already a private in the military, in the Marine, Philippine Marine. So I said, why don't you be my assistant? So he got some paint, and uh, we had a late night picnic while painting this boat. And now it became like a tourist attraction in the area where people would see how colorful it is. So from from a instrument of terror, it became an attraction for peace, and it was beautiful. Then we went to Basilan to do the same thing around Lanao, the mountainous regions, including the Islamic city of Marawi. And we continued doing that. There were times when we were painting schools while conflicts were happening a few clicks away. Like this particular classroom, we built this classroom, and it was the community, like the kids and their parents, who helped us paint this one. And they said they will take care of this school. They will protect the school at all costs from all the terrorists. Because there were a lot of times, like this particular school in Bolo, it was burned down by terrorists, and it sadly two school kids were killed in that fire. And then we got some funds, partnerships with different organizations. We put up the school back again, and we trained the teachers, and we painted the schools together. And then, so going back to Manila, I realized that we need to tell the people in the cities about the plight of our fellow men in the countryside, because I mean, peace missions and efforts won't be successful if it's just known by the locality. To tell more people about peace, especially those in the urban areas. So I thought maybe we can borrow 100 meters of wall from this camp. It's the Armed Forces camp in the Philippines. It's the headquarters, and its walls are probably would total 4.2 kilometers. So we went there together with the other peace advocates in our community, and we asked them if we can borrow 100 meters. The head of the armed forces said, why don't you paint the whole thing, like 4.2 kilometers? So we were excited about it. We got excited. We got scared because it was a big task to do, but it was a good problem. So we got together and conducted workshops, and we were able to attract a lot of volunteers, like more than 6,000 volunteers, to paint 4.2 kilometers walls in the center of Metro Manila. And at some point, it got considered as the longest peace mural in the whole world. And these are just some of the images. And I continued going around the world painting about peace, painting about nature. But I have some slides here about what we go through. Maybe I'll just quickly go through this. It's important to share about the situation in the Philippines and why it is important to continue doing peace mission in the context of the changing climate. So because climate change threatens not just our schedules, but also mostly our way of life, and it has changed a lot of how we live because of the extreme weathers. These are just numbers that would show, like the red one and on top shows how big it is now compared to just a few years ago. How much we lose during specific, like solo single weather events. It's a big jump. This is a satellite photo of Super Typhoon Haiyan, the strongest typhoon ever recorded in human history, and it happened in my father's hometown. And the bigger problem now is during the aftermath when people are left devastated, and that's where peace is disrupted as well, especially when we talk about women and children, and we see a lot of suffering and damage. And basically, it's the basic rights of people are trampled upon. The basic right to live, a basic right for shelter, for clean water, or food, for livelihood, and even schools are disrupted. Like a month ago, when school kids were sent home, like millions of kids were sent home. Yeah, I think that's it for my slides. Just wanna wrap up my commentary. So more millions of kids were sent home because of the heat wave. They cannot stand the extreme weather, extreme temperature, and the Philippines is not equipped, with modern classrooms to um, to stand, the changing weather. And I think it compounds and multiply. It's a what we call a great multiplier, force multiplier for uh, for peace issues and other issues that we're facing. Now, for us, for our group, we use art first of all to connect with communities and to offer them psychosocial interventions and services during aftermath of typhoons, as well as aftermath of traumatic, violent events like conflicts and ongoing wars in the South. Yeah. I'd love to answer questions if you have any, and we'd like to hear your thoughts as well.
Thanks, AG. Thanks for sharing this wonderful presentation. And also, we love all the murals and all the work you do. So thank you so much for sharing. So now this is the time for all of you to share your thoughts. And if you have any questions or like if you want to know more about AG's work, please feel free to ask. And yeah, the floor is yours. And hi, Michelle. So Michelle is here. So thanks, Michelle, for connecting EcoPeace with AG. So this is so wonderful to learn about his work. So Michelle, please.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Ate Mitch. Call her Ate Mitch. How's the weather in Berlin?
It's currently sunny here today. It's very nice weather today. After
I'm jealous.
Why is it all in Netherlands?
Yeah, so it's always like this in the Netherlands. The 4 seasons in one afternoon. Like we had hailstorm a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Also Ate Sarah from Teach Peace, Build Peace Movement is also here. Hi, Mommy Sarah. Nice to see you here.
Hello. Hello, Ate Michelle. Thanks
Hi.
for hooking up AG to EcoPeace Teen Cafe. It's raining in Manila today. It's raining in Manila. So we have a tropical depression right now, and some flights were canceled to Bicol via AG.
That's bad.
Yeah, so it was very hot the past few weeks here, reaching 50 degrees. But now it's in the rainy season. I'm guessing the rainy season is coming in now. Yeah. Kuya AG, thank you for the pictures. I remembered the first time we met was actually in Cebu. Remember?
Oh yes.
For
Holo.
in Holo, in that school that was ravaged by the fire, but by fire. Yeah. So our team actually, my other NGO classrooms ng Pag-asa built a classroom there, and Kuya AG came and painted. So that was the first time we met. And then the weekend after, we were together at the Peace Mural. And my kids
Yes.
were really
Yeah.
small then, 7 and 5 at the time.
7 and 5.
Yeah,
Wow. I
Chloe.
thought
Chloe was
Chloe
7 and 5.
was okay. I thought Chloe was already a teenager that time.
No, not yet.
Not
She
yet,
was
not
still,
yet.
yeah, yeah. So they were still young at that time.
I
But
think it's
now they're
important.
adults.
Yeah, it's important to note that, like what Ate Sarah said, we met in Sulu and they were there as a group. It's called Classroom ng Pag-asa. In English, it's Classrooms of Hope. In my early travels in the southern regions, I mean in the conflict areas, I was alone. I was there as an individual missionary, if I would say that. And then I met the leader of Classroom ng Pag-asa in Zamboanga City. It's probably the biggest hub in that area, economic hub. I met them there. That's a takeoff point for all the trips to Sulu, the island of Sulu. So I met Attorney Angelo, that's his name, and he learned that I was traveling there alone many times. So he said, "Why don't you join our group? And let's do all of these things together. It's safer to travel if you have an organization behind you, and we can help in everything like your logistics and all." So I met them there in one of the missions when they put up that school, and then I painted it. And after that, I became a permanent part of their group, and the peace missions became stronger because I brought a few more amazing artists with me, including the now husband of Ate Sarah.
Maybe it's good for me to note also, when I first met Kuya AG, I really found him, like he was telling me stories about how we should teach our kids how to farm, we should take care of the environment and all these things. And of course I was a professional. I mean, I'm a career professional, really. I At first I thought, hey, this guy is like a doomsdayer. That's how I felt. Because he was telling me about all these things. But um, as the years progressed, and as he kind of helped open my eyes to what's really happening to our earth. And now our family is one of the more we promote peace, eco peace republic all the time now. When I had my son, he never used diapers, disposable diapers. We had cloth diapers. My husband also, who is a painter like AG, he also doesn't want us to buy new things. We bought secondhand stuff. The little things that we do, I think, really matter. Dakila here, my son, when he's off school, he does eco bricking. So it really starts at home. The changes we can do starts at home. So it's good to have people like AG who's inspiring us all, and informing us about what's happening. Thank you, AG.
I think it should be me who should thank you and all of you for taking your own individual initiatives. I mean, whatever came out of my mouth and my messaging, they're all based on science, based on the projections of our scientific communities who we are in touch with, have been in touch with for many, many years now, for decades even. And they always tell us that the creative people are the ones who can, connect to the communities and connect to the world. Their communication skills are limited, and they admit that all the time. And they pass on not really a burden, but the power, the responsibility to creatives to communicate this to more people. And for me, of course, in the beginning, I would admit maybe 15 years ago, up to probably 12 years ago, uh, I was talking more about the gloom and doom of the future. But I mean, we had to go through that. Now it's all about solutions and about the positives. But Ate Sarah's right, because I get a lot of calls and messages from many people the past 4 to 5 years, telling me that what I've been saying in my lectures 15 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago are happening now. happening now, and they wish that they did something more before when they heard me first. But I can't blame them, because sometimes instead of fighting, we tend to freeze if we hear something negative or gloomy, or I can't blame them. But now I think it's always good to be focusing on how we can work together as a community and as a collective, because it's not enough for us to wait for the governments or the corporations to change their mind. If they wanted to, they would have done that 20 years ago, when they already found out that we have a lot of existential crisis happening, or that their businesses would cause this crisis. And then if we wait for individuals to to learn and to unlearn a lot of stuff to do sustainable things every day, that's time might not be enough. So it's important to have collectives like this. And from what I learned in all my travels, that conversations must never stop, because in these conversations, this is where we will get the solution, and even the inspiration to act, at least one type of action that we will add onto the list of actions that we already have been doing.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Sarah. Please.
Yeah, cool. Hey, AD, it's lovely to meet
Sure, please,
you.
please.
And yeah, just so grateful for everybody on this call, and grateful for Greshma for bringing us all together. And yeah, I'm so inspired just by what you've shared and your work and what you're doing, and particularly from the perspective of it stretching our imaginations and like bringing imagination to piecework, because I think piecework is often the doom and gloom, or like the like really facing the challenges and like difficult conversations and conflict stuff, and you're like in the heat of it in that sense. But I love that what you are doing offers like just like a kind of what is the world that we want to imagine, what is the future that we want to imagine, and like let's like show that and create that. And I think that's a voice has in the chat about challenges, and maybe always has a particular angle to the question, but just thinking about like the murals, particularly in communities, and do you ever face like resistance to it, or sort of challenges, or are people always game and keen? And yeah, that was how I was thinking about challenges, but I think Ois was also thinking about other kinds of challenges as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. When it comes to like community members, it's always positive, to see for them to see an artist come in and share colors with them and play with paint. I think the resistance mostly comes from the powerful. They tend to think about it as a political thing, and also I've encountered resistance from corporations who are involved in dolphin businesses. Also when it comes to environmental destruction coming from different companies like mining companies, they tend to be defensive. Like if they see me there in a community painting with the youth or teachers from the schools, they tend to be defensive about it. But of course, I'm there for a peaceful mission. They wait and see if I would say anything against them, because they know that my narrative is about conserving environments, and for them it's usually the other way around. But mostly it's Philippines, different remote communities. As far as the peace efforts is concerned, when we paint peace murals, I think I'm not sure if I've ever encountered anything harsh from communities. Maybe we get shielded from the violent groups enough to not see their reactions, and it's I think a good thing. Although we have encountered, or we have been caught in crossfires and in clan wars many times. We have a lot of funny stories even. Some of them scary. Like one time we were painting and helping out put up or build school no houses like homes in a southern community. Then we heard that there was a shooting in the next neighborhood, and we had to scamper and we had to evacuate right away. And then going out of the long dirt road, a lot of other people were trying to escape the scene, and there was a like the dirt road was jammed. The traffic was terrible. That we thought that sometime soon the perpetrators might be there already to catch up on us. But it never happened. We never had that. We never had um, an encounter or an experience where somebody got hurt, because we always make sure that every move we do is calculated, and particularly Teach Peace, Build Peace movement has a very good track record of amazing planning and organizing. We have an amazing secretariat who makes sure that all the things that we need are planned out and are in the proper place.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah, and thanks, AG. Yeah, for sharing all the wisdom. And here is another question from Oveis. Oveis, do you want to? Can you unmute and ask? Actually, he shared the question on the chat, and I can read. Hi, AG. It was really inspiring to learn about your work, being interested in peace through art. I wanted to ask a question that what challenges do you face when trying to convey messages of peace through your art? Sometimes when I try to convey a message through any photograph, people don't get that in the first instance, and I need to explain how it connects with my actual message. AG.
Yeah, that's a good question, because there are different communities, different people, different contexts of life that they're living, and sometimes I think it's best to know first how people think, like prepare and research, and anticipate and be sensitive. Like I know a lot of journalists, especially in the past, that go to communities and they don't even care about the sentiments of people. They just take pictures, and I think it's only in the past few years that that consent has been valued much. Um, People in the Philippines always, or most of the time, they expect media media to just do whatever they want. They don't even let people sign releases, and then probably this has to do with the opportunity to cry out, or the opportunity to send out a message to the world, because communities are marginalized, and you think that if media people come, that's their only connection to the mainstream or connection to the world, the only opportunity for their voices to be heard. So in that respect, they just give whatever is asked of them, and then they don't demand much respect anymore. And I think when we go to communities, we need to find out first about how their culture is. And I think in some cases, in the early years, I think I got somehow in trouble as well, because I didn't know perfectly about cultures in the South. Not necessarily about their Islamic practice or religion, but like culturally how they live there. And I would find out only in certain moments when elders would tell me, "AG, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this in front of this kind of people." So I'm just glad that I didn't get in big trouble. But I think it should be a good practice, not just for mainstream media people, but also like freelance journalists, freelance photographers to research first about cultures before they get into and they should be clear. We should be clear in our mission and our purpose going there, because you see journalists from different parts of the world, or even maybe from Manila and the big cities, going to remote regions taking pictures and then just saying goodbye, and that probably they'll make money or they'll get awards from those photographs, and it's them who will get the glory and the benefit of that photograph or that trip to those communities, but the communities will never get anything out of the products that these journalists will produce. And I think it's unfair. I think that's unfair. So on a positive note, I think we should always consider the communities as part of our lives, so that we will put more value, in our engagement with them and themselves.
Yeah, thanks always for this wonderful questions, and thanks AG for sharing that. And Soumya, I saw you like to ask. Soumya, can you unmute?
Yes, yes. Hi, Grishma. Hello, AG. How are you? I'm so happy to be here. And I'm grateful to everyone. Sarah, hi, how are you? I just have one question for AG. I was curious to know, I'm also really sorry for joining in a little late because I was caught up with some work. But I was curious to know, would any particular favorite mural that you painted and that has stuck with you? Any particular one that you think you saw, people transforming people's lives in front of you, or somebody you made smile, and something of that sort, that a particular one that stuck with you and you think about the most. So can you please describe about it, or anything that you want to share your insights on?
Yeah, that's the perfect question. I mentioned earlier about a particular mural that I find as one of my favorites, but I'm gonna give a different answer now. Um, there was one time when I was asked to paint a high school, small high school in Quezon City. It's where I live. It's in Metro Manila, and then I didn't have a lot of time to get volunteers, so I contacted a good friend of mine, my fellow football coach, and I asked him if he could bring our players. And we were coaching the Philippine football team for Special Olympics. So all these kids are special kids. There were, I think, 16 of them who came along with their parents, and it was so much fun. And I think that was the first time that I didn't assign colors, there's particular colors to the volunteers, because normally they would ask Kuya AG or Sir AG, what should I color here? Should I use red? Should I use violet? But that particular session, I gave them all the freedom to play with the paint, play with the colors, and it turned out so awesome that until now I use a photograph of that wall when I give talks and lectures, and when somebody organization asks me of a photograph. I think giving freedom to those kids didn't just change them, but also me. That changed a lot about how I see and I view community work. That it's not about the person giving or facilitating the mission, but it's more about the people, the community that we're visiting or that we're going to. Um, and that changed a lot about how I conducted my art. And until now, I think that was 2010. Yeah. Until now, 14 years later, I give freedom to the volunteers to choose their own colors, and yeah, it's a beautiful message as well to tell everybody. Like, imagine that 14 years later, I still tell people about it because it inspired me a lot, and gave me life. It's life changing to be with those amazing people, amazing kids.
Yeah, thanks Soumya, and thanks AG for sharing your favorite mural. And I should say, like, all the murals are so beautiful, and I really feel like especially connected to that. And yeah, Michelle, please, I saw your hand.
Yeah, just going to share, yeah, there's a lot of Kuya AG's inspiring murals around the globe and also in the Philippines as well. But I think one of the Kuya AG is also the leads for Arts for Peace in our organization with Teach Peace, Build Peace movement. And I think one of the projects that he leads is about sketchbook project, if I remember it right, Kuya AG, right?
Right, that's right, that's right.
A sketchbook project. Story about it is that this is one of the project that's one of my favorite project of yours. I just like to share this. We will leave a sketchbook to the local community in a conflict area, and the children will just draw every day on what will happen to their lives, about the story of their daily lives. On so we'll have a peace mission, teach them about arts, facilitate one session about it, and then we're going to leave a sketchbook. It's like their diary. And we have this one particular kid that he draws something quite interesting. We know because of him we know what's going on in his mind and what's going on in his community. So in his drawing he will draw always when we go back and collected the sketchbook, we notice the drawings mostly about minions who is like minions that fighting each other, minions that pointing guns to each other, and minions that basically just pointing guns, and minions that hurting each other, and minions with bombs and something like that. So we asked this kid, "What why are you drawing with all your drawing? Why are you doing this the minions?" And he said because every day he hear that in their local radio about how they are being how how they were being oppressed, and how their previous generation were be, they're hearing about the story of how their ancestors fight for their freedom, and usually it's about the government is like killing their ancestors or something like that. It's been a conflict within the government and that community as well. But through the drawings of that young kid, we're able to craft as well our peace education session in that community. And through that, after it helped us to understand what's happening in the community, and also what's happening to the daily lives of the children, and what they're being hearing and what they're being receiving. It helped us to craft our peace education sessions for them. And after our peace education sessions with them, at the end of that peace mission with them, now the kid draw a school and also a man with a gun, but now the gun with an X. He said now he wanted to protect his school and his community, and he wants to be a soldier now, that who's going to protect his community from being so afraid with soldier, or being so hateful about a soldier, to becoming a soldier who will protect, or somebody, just a person who will lead the protection of the community through nonviolence means. I think it's quite very powerful. And through those simple projects, through that simple through those so simple initiatives of arts, I think those initiatives that also one I would say Kuya AJ is also one of my inspiration doing the peace work in terms of arts and in terms of environment, because he inspired so many people, and so many people's it changed life through arts, I think, and it has to create better programs. So I just so like to also ask Kuya AJ what keeps you going. I know if I remember correctly, last year, was it last year or last 2 years ago, that you hit your goal about drawing dolphins? I forgot how many dolphins were you aiming, and I think you surpassed that goal of the dolphins that you have to draw. But what keeps you going, or what keeps you inspired and still motivated to do arts for peace, or your advocacy in terms of the eco peace?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for reminding me of the sketchbook project and that kid who, made that really amazing narrative of what was going on in their lives there. When I started doing this, the murals, my goal was to paint 100 murals in my lifetime. But of course, with the help of many people from around the world, we finished 1,000 murals back in 2022. Yeah, so yeah, it's more than, or it's beyond what we even hoped for. But of course, we don't stop there. It's upon reaching 1,000 murals when we realized that it's not about the numbers, but it's about how we can use art, to pursue our missions, to extend our narratives and our stories to different communities um, around the world. No? I think it's a beautiful way of engaging with people, beautiful way of cutting beyond cultures and religions to be able to come up, or to fulfill our goals. And I think regarding the sketchpad project, the idea is to gather sketchpads or donations of like monetary donations, so we can buy more sketchpads from all over the world, and then give them to communities, the remote communities, for them to have the means, to tell their stories, because not everyone is comfortable speaking, and we have seen that. Ate Mitch and Ate Sarah would agree that there are a lot of kids in the conflict zones who are not ready to talk, but if you give them the freedom to write or to draw on their own time, it's amazing how they can communicate in from their hearts. Actually, it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thanks for inspiring us. Like by listening, like when we studied together, like me and Michelle was studying at UPs, and I remember like how Michelle shared about her work at Teach Peace and Build Peace, and mentioning about writing letters and everything. I'm still remembering that. So while listening to Michelle, I was like super inspired by all your actions. And today I'm listening to amazing stories from AG and Sarah and also Michelle, like how you all are working in a conflict zone and changing the mindset of people. So even while seeing all the murals, like I feel like super impressed, and like I'm really feeling so much of happiness, like by seeing the soldiers are painting, and I was seeing like as a peace builder, like how beautiful it is, like when we call the community to paint, and we are breaking all the barriers and bringing together people from different cultures and different religious backgrounds. So I was also thinking about like how in my community, how can I do that, and how can I invite. So recently I started an initiative called Eco Peace Garden. For that, I invited my own neighbors to come together and sit and have a conversation, and also we watched movie together. So actually, like after that, even now people know what I'm doing and what about peace building, what is peace building. And also they ask me like, how is your work and how everything is going. So literally, like when we go out to the communities, we can see and feel the change. And so now when I see my own community, I'm like super happy, like how they ask about my initiative. So when I saw the murals, like I feel the same happiness, like when the community comes together, even for like these long years, you are still passionate and um, like doing all the works and achieving, and also reaching like your goals of painting murals. So thank you so much for all your work. And it's already like 1 hour. We planned for a 1 hour conversation, and I know like everyone have like lots of questions, and I feel like we have to do like more such sessions. Like there is like lots of wisdom, especially this would be really helpful for environmental peace builders. So maybe like, is there any other questions or any other reflections? Otherwise, maybe we can wrap up the session. So Sarah and Sarah Oliver is here also. Like we have two Sarahs today. So Sarah is joining from URI, United Religions Initiative. So it's a grassroots organization, and they are based in US, but we have like 1,000 CCs Eco Peace Teen Cafe is one of their cooperation circle. So maybe Sarah will share the social media contact or email ID so you can connect, and we would love to see teach peace, build peace in our community. So maybe you can also check like how to involve with URI. There is a potential collaboration there. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the murals are concerned, just we're a text away. Just let us know if you have a wall there anywhere in the world. We'll be happy to go there and conduct this community engagement, community activity. Yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking like how can we invite you to India and like do some work here. So
If there's a wall, that's it. Yeah, we'll find a way to go there.
okay, okay. Yeah. So I'm seeing like there is like a lots of potential collaborations there. So we will work together in the future and find ways to paint more dolphins and spread peace in our community. So thank you so much, AJ, and thanks to all of you. So please follow Eco Beast Teen Cafe on Instagram, and we have a website. And also we would love to know more about your organizations in Philippines and all over the world, and like how can we collaborate more and reach out to the teenagers. And yeah, that's it. And once again, thank you so much.